Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing my product review for the Ninja Sip Perfection 16-ounce travel mug. Yeah, there. Is this the last travel mug you ever need to buy? Watch this video and find out. So you ready? Let's get into this. Just a quick note, my reviews are based upon the things that I think are important. That might be a little bit different for you, so what I recommend doing is after watching my video, you watch a couple of other videos made by different content creators. That way you get a wider range of likes and dislikes and testing criteria. That in turn should help you make a more informed buying decision, and that is the most important thing of all. This is the Ninja Sip Perfection 16-ounce travel mug. The main body of it is a double-layered 18/8 stainless steel container. It has this removable silicone sleeve at the bottom for protection, and it has a plastic BPA-free sealable lid. You can see the sip spout right here, and this mechanism opens and closes it. When it's in the closed position like this, it creates a leak-proof and spill-proof seal. I don't know what this material is covering up the outside, but if it's like other travel mugs, it's probably matte finished vinyl. These come in a lot of colors. Obviously this is the light blue, kind of electric blue color. And I've got a purple one here just so you can see a little bit of contrast. Other than the colors, these are exactly the same. Okay, let's open this up. If I turn over the lid, you can see the mechanism on the inside. If you want to take this apart for cleaning, it does come apart really easy. You can see this little lock mechanism up here with the arrow. You just turn this in that direction, and then you can turn this over, and the entire top pops right off like that. That way you can clean up underneath here, clean down in here, and if you want to clean the rubber seal, you can pull that off just like that. Goes back together really easy. You just follow the same steps except you go backwards. Like that. And then we close it back up like that. See? If I tilt this like this, you can see the inside surface, but there's not really a whole lot to show you there other than a bunch of stainless steel. The construction on this is very similar to other stainless steel travel mugs. In fact, mugs like this have become really popular over the last several years, and there's a reason why. They just work really, really good. Now the way these work is really interesting, and I do have a plastic Tervis cup right here that's clear, so I can kind of illustrate to you exactly what we're looking at on the inside. Other than the material used, the construction on this and this are going to be pretty similar. Right here in the plastic, you can see there is an outside layer, then there is another layer on the inside, then you have an open area in the middle that's under a vacuum. The purpose of that vacuum is to minimize the amount of heat transfer coming from the out in and from the in out. That's why if you have hot contents, it'll tend to keep it hot, and if you have cold contents, it'll tend to keep it cold, regardless of what the environment looks like on the outside. The way that happens is by three different processes. There's convection, conduction, and radiation. Convection would be heat transfer due to the movement of the fluid, and that would also include coming out the top here. That's why a cup like this with no lid on it doesn't do as good a job as a thermos. The second way you have heat transfer is from something called conduction, and conduction is heat flowing through a body. So basically it's heat flowing through material. That's where having the air in here under a vacuum really helps, because that will prevent heat transfer through the conduction, because that'll pass through the outer layers, but it will have a hard time going through the vacuum. In fact, having that vacuum layer is really good for both convection and conduction. And if this were to have a lid on it, both of those methods would be taken care of by that. The third way you have heat transfer, however, is through radiation, and that's where something like a stainless steel really comes in handy. Because with radiation, heat can transfer through that vacuum as well. So what you do to stop that is to have your inner layer made out of something like stainless steel, because that will reflect the heat.
Are you serious?
So radiated heat will hit that inner layer and it'll reflect right back into the drink, storing the heat. Pretty cool, huh? That's generally the way that all stainless steel thermoses and travel mugs like this have worked for quite a while. Now, Ninja includes something called Heatstore technology. And what they're advertising is that this somehow controls that heat loss, and it will allow some of the heat to pass through that inner layer, get stored in the vacuum, and then released back into your drink slowly to maintain a certain temperature. So that means it'll let the temperature drop a little bit and then it'll maintain it. That's something we're going to have to test, but unfortunately I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly how that works, because it's going to depend on what type of material the layers are made out of. Obviously, they have to be lined with something other than just being stainless steel. Otherwise, it's not going to have any discernible difference between other stainless steel travel mugs. In any case, it says it can reach that temperature within a few minutes of putting your hot liquid in here, and it can maintain it for hours. As far as size goes on these are just about 3 inches wide, and from bottom to the top on the sippy portion, almost exactly 9 inches tall. Like I said before, this lid is made out of BPA-free plastic, and the body is made out of 18-8 stainless steel. One thing to note about 18-8 stainless steel is that it contains 8% nickel. That's what the 8 in the 18-8 stands for. That means that if you have a sensitivity to nickel, you might not want to use stainless steel cookware or stainless steel containers like this because you can have a reaction to that. If you've used these before in the past and it hasn't been a problem, then you're probably fine. But it also depends on what type of stainless steel they were using to make it. Remember earlier when we were talking about heat transfer? Well, as far as heat transfer due to convection, that would actually be able to pass through your lid. And the lid on this is all plastic. There will be a little bit of heat loss there. How much, we're gonna find out, but just be aware that this is not a metal lid, so there's gonna be some at least. This is also designed to fit most cup holders in cars, so you're probably okay unless you got like a weird size cup holder or something. And in addition to the lid being BPA free, this entire thing is supposed to be dishwasher safe. However, I would never recommend putting this in your dishwasher, and the main reason for that isn't the concern with the stainless steel or anything like that, it's this vinyl covering here. I don't care what they say about being dishwasher safe, that will get messed up over time and it'll start tearing off and it's gonna look like shit. What? I know this for a fact because I've had quite a few of these with the same kind of stainless steel construction with that vinyl overlay, and after washing them in the dishwasher maybe 10 times or so, that starts getting a little bit of moisture underneath it, and then it's just a matter of time before it starts developing bubbles and ripping off. If you hand wash it, it's probably going to stay like this forever unless you gash it or something. Also, if we really delve deep into this Heatstore technology, you can see that it quickly absorbs heat from hot drinks to maintain a perfect sipping temperature for hours. Down here it says, with 1.375 fluid ounce room temperature creamer. So the way I take that along with some of the stuff that I've seen online is that if you don't start the cooling process a little bit with some creamer, then the Heatstore process doesn't work as well. But we're gonna find that out too. Also, if you look really close right here, you can see kind of a cutout and exactly what the inside of this flask looks like. So you have your inner stainless layer right here, that vacuum in the middle, and then your outer stainless layer. Okay, now we're gonna do a few tests to see how these things perform. First, we're gonna put a little bit of ice water in here, and we're gonna see how well it maintains that cold after about 4 hours or so. And in here, we're gonna do the same test with fresh brewed hot coffee. After that, we'll do the Heatstore test, and we'll use the instructions they gave us to carry that out. Okay, let's throw some ice in here. Okay, that looks like enough to me. And then I'm gonna fill this up with cold water. Throw on our lid. We're gonna leave that top locked, just like that. Now we can just let that set back there. Okay, and this will be for our coffee. Okay, and I'll check the temperature on the coffee right here, and that looks like 159 degrees. We'll seal this up, and we'll let these sit and see how they do. Hey, by the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. Okay, I've had these sitting here for 5 hours. Let's take a quick peek. We'll take a look at the cold water first. Okay, you can see it's still frozen. I still got quite a bit of ice in there. In fact, I'm going to take this water out and we'll see how much ice I got left. All right, let's see. Well, that's pretty good. That's about probably 80% of the ice that I put in there is still there. So that's pretty good. This is gonna last well overnight. And obviously that's still really cold. Now we'll take a look at our coffee. That's still pretty hot. Remember, this was 159 degrees when I put it in here initially. And now we're looking at 125 degrees after 5 hours. As far as that goes, 125 degrees is still pretty hot. Yeah, that's really good. That's about the temperature that I drink my coffee at normally. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get rid of this and we're gonna try it with some creamer. Now, suspiciously, Ninja tells you that if you put a little bit of creamer into it, it's going to help drop the temperature down and it's going to store that heat and keep it at the perfect drinking temperature. That's a little bit subjective, so we'll probably just use what's comfortable to me, which is right around that 125 degrees that the other one came out on, but we'll see. So in goes some fresh coffee. That coffee that I just put in is not quite as hot as the other coffee was, but that's 151 degrees, which is still very hot. So the instructions are telling me that in order to get the Heatstore to work properly, I've got to add about a half an ounce of room temperature creamer to this. So we'll put this in here. I'm going to give this a quick mix just like you normally would if you're making your own coffee. Check the temperature again, and that's at 137 degrees. And then we'll put this lid back on here. So this is saying that this is going to get this down to a comfortable drinking temperature in a few minutes. How long a few minutes is, I don't know. And then it's going to store that heat and keep it at that comfortable drinking temperature for hours, it says. So we're gonna give this about 5 minutes and see if there's any difference in the temperature. Okay, I gave it about 15 minutes. Let's see how hot this is now. Okay. It's pretty close to the same. We're at 136.5 degrees. I'll take a quick sip of this and see exactly how hot that is compared to how I like it. That's a little bit hotter than I like it, but then again, I like my coffee a little bit cooler than most people. So what we're gonna do is I'll let this sit here for 3 hours and then we'll see what happens.
2,000 years later.
All right, I've let this sit for about 3 hours. Let's take a taste of this and see how hot this is. Well, it's still pretty hot, but it's nowhere near as hot as it was. Let's get the thermometer out for this thing. And looking at this, we're at about 119 degrees. So I'd say that's not too bad considering it's been sitting here for 3 hours like this. So I'd say, in my opinion, pretty satisfied with that. It did let the temperature drop a little bit more than the last test, but then again, that does have the creamer in it. And it did say that it was going to drop the temperature down to a more comfortable drinking area, but it didn't exactly say what that is. So maybe it did that and maybe it just cooled down over time. Hard to say. But at the end of the day, remember that I was working with a lower temperature to begin with as well. There's a heck of a lot of stainless steel travel mugs out there on the market, and this is definitely one of them. The heat and cold retention is right up there with Contigo, which is basically the industry standard. The biggest difference being is the lid design, and in my personal opinion, the Ninja version is much better. If you'd like a little bit more information about the Ninja Sip Perfection travel mugs, I do have Amazon affiliate links to those down in the description of the video. If you buy anything through those links, I do make a small commission, but it doesn't change the price that you pay, 1 cent. In case you haven't noticed, I now have the Joe's Phenomenal merch store online. You can see a few of the products I have available down below the video window, and if you go into Spread Shop from down there, you can see all the rest. I also have a link to the store down in the video description. All proceeds from the store go right back into the YouTube channel to try to make it just a little bit better experience for you. If you like this video, you might want to check out my review right here for the Ninja Dual Brew Pro coffee system. If you're making your coffee to go in the morning, it pairs up really nice with the travel mug we just reviewed. Well, that's it for now. I hope to see you back again here really soon, and until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.